to Savannah in '78, okay. Had my former assistant in basketball was a vice principal here, and he told me about the job in Savannah, so I applied for it. And I think I was a second choice, but nevertheless, the other guy turned it down, and I got the job, and it was definitely a change for me to go from a smaller school into Savannah. And that's when I really got to enjoy Brad and coaching basketball at that time. It was a new experience and a real challenge. I remember they couldn't beat Benton, they couldn't beat Lafayette, and I said, sooner or later we're going to do that. We're going to have to work hard to do it, and eventually we did. We did beat Lafayette. Well, at Stanbury and at Savannah, football was the main sport. And I remember when I went there, you're building a new gym, why are you doing that? You haven't got anything to put in it. Well, pretty soon we won the state in basketball. And it's kind of like Savannah. When I first came here, it wasn't really good as far as the basketball records. And beginning with Brad and his teammates, that was probably the beginning of the change in basketball in Savannah, especially when he was a sophomore, and then as a junior, and then a senior. Our basketball became important in Savannah. The main memory of Brad and the whole team was when they were seniors, and it was in our preseason conference tournament, and we were playing the defending state champions, Chillicothe, in the finals of that tournament. And Brad led us in scoring, hit the final 2 free throws to ice the victory. And that's a highlight of my career too. And it's always nice to know that your former players are successful.
Brad Hilsabeck's easy to talk about. That's all there is to it. When I came to this school, I was coming out of a high school setting. People were nice enough to hire somebody that didn't look like a basketball coach, but I got the job anyway. And when I came in, one of the people that was here was Brad Hilsabeck. Savannah, Missouri, 6'5", 190 pounds, very talented. Brad is an easy meet. I mean, when you see him, there's a smile, and you're not sure what the smile means. It's anything from, I'm going to tease you, to I like you, to, boy, I wish I were on the basketball court right now instead of talking to you. He could take over a ball game after he did that. He could take over a practice and straighten people out. If he had that smile on, he's the one that everybody turned and looked to first when something needed to be done. The other players fit perfectly beside him. When you put them together, you ended up with a team. That's not something that I caused. That's something that he caused and the other people that were around him. They were very good at what they did. They got along well. They were all excellent students. They've all been successful since they left school. This was just a totally unique group of people, and Brad Hilsabeck was right at the front of the group too. You know, anybody that coaches has an ego. You know, there are things I want to do. I can make you another Jerry West or whatever. But when I came here, these people were already developed as a team. There were some new people, but they fit in very, very quickly. And they accepted each other, and they accepted the roles that they had. And they loved the idea of being able to come into this building or any other gymnasium that we went to. We played some really good schools. They loved the challenge. And it was fun to watch them work through their own problems and solve them, for the most part, on their own. And that team just stuck together. They're a memory that I'll never lose. Just thinking back of what those people were able to accomplish and how they were able to get along and create something special for this school.
Brad was 2 years ahead of me at Westminster, and I distinctly remember, you know, when I came on campus as a freshman, I knew who he was because I was going to play basketball, and I knew he was, you know, a key member of the team. So I was anxious to meet him, and when I did, I was just immediately impressed with how nice of a guy he was, and it struck me how laid back and friendly and just a good guy that Brad was, and so as we finally worked our way up to the gym to start working on basketball, I was thinking, well, gosh, Brad, he's going to be an easygoing, laid-back guy. And the first time I got the ball in the lane and Brad was standing there, I think he threw it about 20 feet up. It hit off the wall. He blocked my shot. And I remember thinking, he's not such a nice guy. So, but that was Brad. I mean, when I think of Brad, I think about how balanced he was back then and still is. As a basketball player, Brad could do just about anything on the court. He obviously a great scorer, great rebounder, but also just excellent defender and a good passer. And I remember, it usually was me passing the ball to Brad and Brad scoring, and that was the best formula. But I remember one time Brad drove down the lane. He drew 2 defenders to him. I was standing right underneath the basket, and Brad just made a beautiful no-look pass to me. And it surprised me, but he was a great passer. Caught the ball, missed the shot. I mean, wide open under the basket, missed the shot. So the next dead ball, I'm feeling bad about it. And of course, nobody wanted to let Brad down. And so I said, hey, Beck, man, sorry about that. He looked at me and he smiled, and I thought, well, it's okay. He smiled and he goes, yeah, don't worry about it, but next time I'm just going to shoot it myself. But that's the kind of guy he was. He made you feel comfortable, and the thing I really appreciate about Brad from those days being his teammate is that for as good of a player as Brad was, and I think you could argue that Brad was probably one of the top 2 or 3 players in the history of Westminster College, greatest player. As good of a player as he was a better teammate. The way Brad played basketball at Westminster College, when we needed him the most is when he was there. And he may not want us to know this, but I know what he's doing financially for the college, and I know how tough it is right now for small colleges. And once again, when we need him the most, he's stepping up and he's meeting the challenge. He's setting a good example for the rest of us. And he always did that when we were in school. He set a good example. We never wanted to let Brad down. We wanted to live up to his example, his work ethic, and so now's another example of that. The other thing is, Brad, if you're watching this, thank you for your leadership. Thank you for your friendship, the example you set. I just really consider it a privilege to have been your teammate.